wasn't metal. It didn't carry a single defensive gun. And yet, it became the fastest plane of World War II. When German pilots first saw it streak past their cockpits, they radioed in disbelief. Impossible. It must be American. But it wasn't American, it was British. And it was built mainly from wood. Spring 1940, Britain is under relentless pressure and the factory floors are crying out for metal. Into that desperate atmosphere walks Geoffrey de Havilland, a designer known for risky ideas, and he pitches something that sounds like a joke at first. A light bomber with no armor, no defensive guns, and a body assembled in furniture shops. The reaction in the Air Ministry is immediate and brutal. Memos calling it Freeman's folly, ministers scoffing that wood belongs in pianos, not warplanes, and production chiefs who insist the idea is downright dangerous. But there is one man who sees a different equation. Air Marshal Wilfred Freeman. He looks at weight, drag, and the timings of modern air combat and bets his reputation on speed as armor. He forces an order for 150 machines before a prototype has even flown. That gamble sounds insane. Why would a leader sign his name to wooden glue? Because Freeman understood something many others did not. If you could strike faster than the enemy could climb, armor and guns became secondary. It is a bet against convention. November 1940 at Hatfield Airfield is the moment the world stops laughing. The Mosquito, a name almost frivolous for such a radical concept, slides along the runway. The wooden frame, varnished and layered, flexes like a cello and screams down the tarmac. Twin Merlin engines roar and the instruments spike. The needle hits 380 miles per hour. Faster than the Spitfire. The ground crew freezes. Piano makers and cabinet makers who have been repurposed as fuselage artisans watch their work fly faster than anyone imagined possible. Within weeks, skeptics are silenced and production lines retool. Workshops that once made fine furniture are now turning out aircraft skin and spars. But brilliance often has a price. Pilots quickly learn the Mosquito is not forgiving. They call it the nervous thoroughbred. There is one number whispered in mess halls and printed in flight manuals: 172 miles per hour. Lose an engine on takeoff, and if your speed drops below that line, control vanishes. That figure becomes a boundary between a routine emergency and a fatal stall. You didn't fly a Mosquito, one historian put it. You negotiated with it. That sense of negotiation, of constantly balancing risk and reward, becomes the emotional engine of every mission. Which pilots live? Which pilots die? The Air Force chooses its crews carefully. Only the steady, the precise, and the brave are allowed to tame the machine. Their training is brutal. They practice engine-out procedures until the cold sweat runs. They rehearse dead-stick landings, and they memorize that number like a prayer. But for those who master it, the payoff is enormous. The power to pick targets, to strike and vanish before interceptors even finish their climb. One raid crystallizes that power into public humiliation. January 30th, 1943. Hermann Göring prepares to address the German people with a radio speech about invincibility. The Mosquitoes time their run to perfection. Engines scream across Berlin on the live broadcast. Explosions punctuate the propaganda. For months afterward, Mosquitoes return. Night after night, 220 nights of strikes. Ghosting in and out so fast, the Luftwaffe scrambles in confusion. Göring is reported to fume that he turns green with envy at a British plane built of wood. It is not just physical damage. It is psychological erosion. While Germany scrambles tall fighters and more armor, the British keep producing the elegant wooden craft that keeps slipping through. The genius, though, is not only speed or humiliation, it is versatility. The same airframe becomes 40 different variants. A light bomber one week, a radar-equipped night fighter the next, stripped down for high-altitude photographic reconnaissance to capture the earliest images of secret V2 sites, a Pathfinder dropping flares to guide the heavy bombers, a courier racing vital documents across the channel. Imagine swapping roles like changing a hat, cameras and film one day, cannon and radar the next. The Mosquito proves that a simple, well-designed platform can be smarter than a fleet of complex specialized machines. Then comes a mission that reads like a thriller, Operation Jericho, February 18, 1944. Mosquitoes fly almost at treetop level, 15 feet above frozen fields, at speeds around 250 miles per hour, wingtips brushing hedgerows. The target is Amiens prison, where hundreds face execution. Navigators and pilots calculate split seconds. Fuses are set for delayed detonation, so the bombs will blow a precise 60-foot hole in the wall without collapsing the whole structure. The flight in is silent, low, and terrifying. The bomb run is surgical. The breach opens. 255 prisoners pour into the snow. Many are recaptured and some are tragically killed in the chaos, but roughly 80 vanish into the countryside and survive. It is an operation of moral ambiguity and raw courage. The Air Force using explosive force not to destroy industry, but to open a moment of escape for human beings. Beyond Jericho, the Mosquito's record is staggering. Thousands of sorties across Europe, North Africa, and Asia. It flies reconnaissance that uncovers rocket sites, escorts special missions, and strikes with a precision that forces commanders to rethink doctrine. The industrial story is just as remarkable. At a time when metal was scarce, Britain mobilized furniture factories, piano workshops, and small craftsmen to create an aircraft that outperformed heavier rivals. That industrial improvisation, converting civilian skill into military output, becomes a study in adaptive strategy. Pilots who survive tell stories that mix terror with affection. The way the wooden skin sings under stress. The way the Merlin engines feel like a heartbeat in the wings. The precise moment when you realize the machine will outrun the fighters behind you. There are losses too. Training accidents, hard lessons learned at low altitude. The constant knowledge that a single mistake can be fatal. Yet those costs are weighed against the outsized strategic effects. Psychological shock, surgical raids that interrupt enemy plans, reconnaissance that reveals secret weapons, and the operational flexibility that makes whole campaigns easier to manage. After the war, the Mosquito's influence ripples through aircraft design and strategy. Engineers study how simplicity, speed, and modularity can outperform complexity. The idea that a wooden plane could humiliate powerful commanders and save lives becomes a lesson in creative problem-solving under constraint. It reminds us that scarcity can force invention, and that bold leadership, a man willing to order 150 planes before a prototype flew, sometimes matters as much as technology. Built from wood and powered by courage, the Mosquito didn't win the war by itself, but it rewrote parts of what air power could be. So think about the gambler who signed that order, the carpenters who shifted from tables to fuselages, the pilots who negotiated with a dangerous but brilliant machine. Would you have trusted your life to wood and varnish? Would you choose speed over armor? If this story stunned you, smash the like button and subscribe for more forgotten engineering legends. And tell me in the comments, what's the single boldest gamble you've ever heard that actually paid off?